Hi and welcome to session 1, day 1, module 1 of 30 days of photography. My name is Kevin Aronson. I'm the founder of Hampshire School of Photography, and that's Hampshire in England, not New Hampshire in America. Okay, this is English, and going to spend the next 30 days together learning the basics of photography, how the buttons work, how do you find them, what they do, and this is excuse me, laying down a foundation, a strong foundation in Photoshop, so that once you start using it to manipulate your images, you'll be working from a strong place of understanding what everything does. So 30 days, this is day 1. I'm going to get cracking straight on. Now, no flashy introduction here with music and all that stuff. I'm a busy photographer. I don't have time for that. We're just going to get straight into it. Here we go. And this may look slightly different to yours because what it's showing me are the last few images that I've opened up and used before. If you want to get rid of those, you can do that by going to the File menu, open Recent and Clear Recent File List, and that gets rid of them. So what I want to talk about on this first session is how we get your images into Photoshop, how you import them there to edit. And there's a number of ways of doing it. The most common way, I guess, is to drop down the File menu, top left, and click on Open. And as soon as you click on Open, and you can see there's a shortcut key there, Command O on a Mac, which is Control O on a PC. If you press Command O or Control O, it's the same as clicking on here, and it's a lot quicker to use. It will open up the dialog box to import an image, so we'll just pick one there, open, and there it is. I'll just go full screen, that's good. To do it again, I'll do it this time without going up to the menu, just pressing Command O, which on a PC is Control O. Press that, and the box comes up again. I'll just pick another image. And now, we've got 2 images loaded in Photoshop. There's one. There's the other. There's one. There's the other. And you can flick between them and work on them independently without affecting the other. And obviously you can close them down individually without affecting the other. So now I've just got the one left. Now, because I've worked as a pro for many years, working sometimes on hundreds of images at a time, it's always been important to me to speed up my workflow in any way I can. So I rarely ever go to the menus to find the things I want. There are a few things, but they tend to be things that I don't use very often, so I haven't memorized any shortcuts. But the most common stuff, I have memorized shortcut keys. So I don't want to have to go up to the File menu and press, for instance, close the window. I can see here there's a shortcut key, Command W. So, oops, let's just blow that back up again. Command W will close down the window. If I press Command W now, boom, it's gone. Open it up again. If I was on a PC, I don't press Command W, I press Control W. If I do it now, does the same thing. There you go, closes it down. Now, Command W or Control W, whether you're on a Mac or a PC, works in just about any piece of software you can think of. It's a universal command. There may be a few exceptions, but most of the software you'll ever come across will respond to Command or Control W and close down the window. It's a great time saver. Okay. What other ways can we bring images into here? What about if we let's bring up sample files. Here we go. We can, if we want, just drag an image onto it. Boom. There you go. How good was that? I literally dragged it onto Photoshop and it opened up in Photoshop. What happens if I do that with a raw file? Different. Raw files are treated differently, and the raw dialog box opens up so that you can make changes. And the changes here, these sliders are much the same as you'd get in Lightroom, but to my mind, they're not as attractive to work with, and there are a few changes in there which to me are backward steps. I don't find it as nice to use as Lightroom. So for me, I edit all my raw files initially in Lightroom, then I send them to Photoshop, do my fine tuning in Photoshop, and then send them back to Lightroom afterwards. Let me show you how that works. I'm just going to close these down. Command W, Control W, good. And now we're going to go to Lightroom. Let's say we want to send that image to Photoshop to do some editing. In fact, there's a version there with, there we go. She's got some marks on the skin. So we'll send that to Photoshop. I press Command E and it sends it to Photoshop. Look at that. Command E. On a PC it's Control E, but on a Mac it's Control E. And I guess the E stands for edit. So Command E means I'm going to edit it, or Control E means I'm going to edit it. And look, it loaded up in Photoshop, and if I want to, I can just get rid of those little bits there, that little bit there. And I don't know, let's just do some silly stuff. Let's do a... There you go. Just to prove that I've made some changes, all right? Really weird. Now, assuming that's what I wanted to do, I'd be nuts if I did. Assuming that is, and now I want to send it back to Lightroom, could not be easier. I press Command W to close it down, just like normal. Command W, and it says, do I want to save it? And I do. So, Command W on a Mac, Control W on a PC. I do want to save it. I click Save. You can see a little blue bar down the bottom left here as it saves it. And it sends it back to Lightroom. If I go to Lightroom, there it is with the alterations. But it's now a TIFF file and it's got the word edit on it, so you know that it's been through the Photoshop editing process. Really easy. So if you have a raw file in Lightroom and you want to send it to Photoshop, when you press Command or Control E to send it to Photoshop, it doesn't actually send the raw file itself to be altered. The raw file remains untouched. It's non-destructive editing, as it's called. You do your editing in Photoshop, and when you send it back, it comes back usually as a TIFF file, can be a Photoshop document. And the way to change that, if you go to Preferences in Lightroom, and under External Editing, you get a choice of either Photoshop file or TIFF file. So when the image comes back from Photoshop, it's one of those, whichever you prefer. Let's go back to Photoshop. So there we are. The three ways of bringing images in is either opening up an image, which is Command O, which brings up the import opportunity there. Just drag it in. Or you can literally drag an image in. Let's drag in this one. Okay, that's nice and easy. Or you can import them from Lightroom by pressing Command or Control E. So let's just put this one here into Photoshop. There you go. Hope that wasn't too difficult for you, and I'm looking forward to seeing you again tomorrow as we look at the next lesson in our 30 days of Photoshop. If you'd like to know more about the Hampshire School of Photography and maybe look at some of the workshops we're running, particularly some of the more detailed ones on Photoshop which would run on from this, then check out the website hampshirephotoschool.com, or the shortened version which we now have, which is simply gohsp.com. gohsp.com. HSP obviously stands for Hampshire School of Photography. If you're not watching this on our blog, then try checking out phototeacher.blog, because the blog will contain all 30 episodes of this teaching session, this teaching series on Photoshop. And of course, we've got our Facebook page. If you go to Facebook and just search under Hampshire School of Photography, you'll find us as well. And we'll try and post some links down below. Gosh, it's really awkward. Down below. Yeah, okay. Right, see you tomorrow, and maybe you want to fill in the form underneath so we can keep in touch with you. Let you know when each new episode is posted. Thanks a lot. Bye.